Well, hello there. Hello. Everett O'Keefe here from Ignite Press, and super excited to be with you today. I have a fantastic new author who's been working on her book for a long time because she wants to change the lives of mothers and their families. And so we're going to come to her in just a moment. So first, if you've ever watched one of our live casts, you know that we always love to introduce new authors and talk about their books. And if you have thought about writing a book, if you have thought about putting your message in a book to help build your brand or help expand your business or your credibility, please reach out. I'm happy to sit down with you and have a consultation. And you can find us at ignitepress.us, ignitepress.us. So now on to the main event. Today, we have Pam Howard here with her book, and that is Less Drama, More Mama, How to Go from Frazzled and Disrespected to Calm and Connected. I'm just so excited. So let me bring up Pam, and where'd we go? Take this off the screen. Sorry about that. Well, Pam, how are you doing today? This is a big day.
Yeah, I'm amazing. Thank you for having me. And I'm just super excited today.
Fantastic. We are sitting here today and streaming out online, and just want to talk about your book. But before we do that, Pam, would you do me a favor? Tell us more about you. Tell us more about your background and how you got to the point where you wanted to write Less Drama, More Mama.
Okay. So my name is Pam Howard, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. And I always knew that I wanted to be a mom. And I worked with kids as a camp counselor, as a teacher, as a social worker, and really had great relationships with kids. And I just thought, I'm going to be an amazing mom. And when I had kids of my own, like most people who think, parenting is going to be a breeze, when you have your own kids, it's a different story. And I found myself repeating patterns from my family, yelling a lot and feeling really frustrated and overwhelmed. And so I started, figuring out for myself, like, how do I change the patterns that I grew up with? How do I change for my kids? Because I don't want them growing up with the same kind of emotional reactivity in the home. And so I just started reading a ton of books, and I went into therapy myself and really just figured out how to change the course of my parenting to influence my kids in a way that we now have the most amazing relationships. They're now almost 18 and 14, and I really couldn't ask for just a better relationship with both of them. And so when I figured out how to use the tools that I learned in my parenting, I said, this is what I need to do. I need to help other moms to do the same thing and to stop yelling at their kids and to start feeling empowered. And so I started a blog in 2012 called Less Drama, More Mama. And I started teaching some classes to parents at my kids' preschool. And I kept getting clients and blogging every week. Then the blog turned into my podcast with the same name, Less Drama, More Mama. And here we are 5 years later, right around the exact same time that I launched my podcast 5 years ago with the book.
Wow. What I love about this is you have your lay experience, right? As a parent, every parent of, in your case, you've got two teenagers. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
So any parent of teenagers has a wealth of experience to draw from to help other parents. But yours is also combined, right? Because you're a licensed clinical social worker, you're a life coach, you have so many other credentials and training behind you to help combine with everything you've learned so far as a parent. By the way, kind of funny you brought this up, because just this last week, my youngest son, he's 21, still lives with us, going to college, and he asked us how many parenting classes we took and how many parenting classes we taught, because we taught parenting classes in our church. I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, we took 3 and we taught about 10." And he said, "Did that help? Do you think that helped?" I said, "Immensely, without a doubt." And so that you're doing parenting classes, teaching people something that they never get taught about, right? There's no mandatory training. It's that whole deal. Here, you take this child home from the hospital, and you're like, what? Uh,
Exactly.
so, and you've gone through the thick of it. You've got teenagers, and parenting teenagers, everybody tells you, is what? The
The
worst,
worst,
the
yeah.
terror. What's your
Yeah.
experience, Pam?
Well, I used to work with teenagers. Right out of graduate school, I worked for a while with troubled teens in an adolescent day treatment program right outside Boston, and I loved working with teenagers. It was fun for me. I felt like a teenager. I mean, I was still in my 20s, so I still felt like a teenager myself, right? And I loved working with teens, and I always thought to myself, yeah, teens get a really bad rap. And when you think to yourself, the teenage years are going to be hard, or teenagers are such fill in the blank, right? Then um, you're going to create that experience because of those thoughts.
Mm.
So I just decided a long time ago, I'm not going to have those thoughts. I'm going to think teenagers are amazing. They're fantastic. And I liked myself as a teenager. I like other teenagers, and I now love my teenagers so much. And I don't say that, I mean it like so in my bones that I love these people. And we have so much fun together. And we just it's we have our issues like all relationships, but day to day, I just really enjoy being with them. So
Well, so by the way, I want to throw this out there for anyone who's watching. If you're on the live cast here, if you're watching the live cast, please go ahead and throw in the chat, hello, etc. But also, if you have questions for Pam, go ahead and ask them, and we'll try to address them toward the back end of this live cast. Already, Pam, I'm seeing comments from people excited that they've bought your book. Uh,
yay, thank you.
Sarah Curry Summers was raving about you and said, "Oh, and refer as many moms as you can to read this." So,
Thank you,
fantastic.
Sarah.
You know, when I grew, when we had were starting to raise our kids, I remember seeing television shows, sitcoms, etc., where the teenage girl would say, "I'm done. Nobody understands me. Everyone hates me," would run into the room, slam the door, and all of that. And is that what we should be expecting with our teenage children? Is that the life that's in front of us with teenage girls, particularly?
I mean, sometimes they're gonna have those meltdowns or, explosions, whatever you wanna call them. But, it's not just teenagers, it's people, it's human beings. We have these, times when we just lose it, and what I'm trying to help moms do is for them not to lose it when their kid does, right? Because then if your kid is losing it and you're losing it, then nobody's in charge, and, like, nobody is in control of anything. And so what we wanna do as moms is, like, understand that your child's just having an emotional reaction to something, but it doesn't mean that you have to also. You just need to be there for them and, be firm and loving, and you can set boundaries and, and be there for them when they go through that. It doesn't mean you let them walk all over you. It doesn't mean you don't have consequences or anything like that, but you just don't have to be upset when they're upset.
Okay, and this kind of leads me to your book. In your book, you have 9 truths,
Yeah.
9 truths that you've covered in your book, and I'm sure we can't get to all 9 of them here. But are there some favorite truths or some truths that you'd really like to talk about today?
Yeah, sure. So let me just explain. So I came up with 9 lies that I believe moms believe that sabotage their parenting efforts. And so the chapters of my book are the corresponding truths to those lies. And so s- one of my favorites is truth number 1, which is your kids can't make you angry. And it's just what we were just talking about, right? So many parents think that will say to their kids, "You make me so angry," or even "You make me so proud," right? But your kids don't have the power to make you feel anything. That's an inside job. So you get to decide how you're going to feel because your feelings are coming from your thoughts, not from them. And so that's really truth number 1 that sets the foundation for all my work is taking responsibility for our own emotions, taking 100% responsibility, being emotionally mature and, because you're the adult. Your kids need you to be calm and cool and mature because they can't be right now and they're just learning. So that's truth number 1 and it's the most important one, I think.
And I think that, yeah, that is critical, knowing that how we react, right? We have control of how we react. But our society, we hear this all the time. You made me so mad. You make me so angry. Like it's a like it's an inevitable outcome that when the
Mhm.
child does this, you're going to feel and react this way. And
Yeah.
finding that separation, I think that's very valuable. Um, you had one of yours in here I really liked. You said feelings don't need to be fixed; they need to be felt. Can
Mhm.
you can you elaborate on that one?
Yeah, that's truth number 4, I believe. And, that one is it? No, maybe it's 3, number 3. Anyway, we as parents often think that we want our kids to be happy. I hear that from most parents, like, "I just want my kids to be happy." But people aren't always happy. It's just not possible, and it's not supposed to be that way. We have positive emotions and we have negative emotions, and when I say that, I don't mean that they're good or bad necessarily, but they just feel good or feel bad in our bodies, and so it's okay when your child isn't feeling happy to just let them feel sad, let them feel angry, let them feel whatever it is they're feeling because that's their truth in that moment. And so we don't have to try to fix the problem and make them happy, right? We don't have to buy them toys just because we are afraid that they're going to have a meltdown if we don't. We don't have to do things for them because they get frustrated. We just need to let them feel all of their feelings and just again be there for them, validate what they're going through, encourage them that they can get through it and help them feel those feelings. And in the book, I talk about the process of how to feel a feeling. And so once you learn how to do it yourself, then you can help your kids too.
All right, now we're getting some questions here from the
Yeah,
audience, so I thought I might as well throw a couple of them in.
sure.
So Zelda asks, let's put her question up here. What are some immediate benefits a reader can expect from applying the principles in your book?
That's a great question, Zelda. Thanks for asking. So I think some immediate benefits that you can expect are just feeling more empowered, feeling more like a sense of control over things. When I learned that my kids don't make me feel anything, I felt so much relief because it was like, "Oh, I don't have to try to control my child so that I can feel good. I can just choose to feel good anyway." And so it was this huge weight off my shoulders that it was a shift from trying to control her to just controlling myself. And so I think that's like the immediate benefit. Um, and just more patience, more understanding, more compassion. Those are some other things I think people will experience after reading this, I hope.
Well, and what a huge benefit, right? And just to take some of the pressure off you as a parent, who, of course, you're supposed to know everything and make all decisions perfectly and all of that. Like, there's not a whole lot of grace that we give to ourselves when it comes to those types of things. Well, let me remind people that they can pick up your book today. In fact, we're running a launch special right now. The Kindle version of the book is 99 cents on Amazon. You can also pick up the paperback version of the book. And I would recommend that you grab this and grab at least 2 copies, because one for you and one for that frazzled mother, and and let's be real, we all know many. So I think they'll be really a fantastic gift for you to pick up. Now, I also saw another really great comment I wanted to share here from Tara. I'm loving this book. It offers uplifting, practical, helpful, and encouraging advice for raising and connecting with my kids. Oh, by the way, and Zelda said, thank you very much for your insightful answer.
Oh, you're welcome, Zelda, and thank you, Tara.
So I've got another question here. This one's from Stephanie. Which of your chapters do you think might be the most radical for people?
This is my sister, everybody.
Ah,
My sister. Hi, Stephanie. Okay, might be the most radical. Well, I mean, I I think there are a few, but one that I know I've already heard some comments about is there are no wrong decisions. Um, and this is a biggie because we as parents, we are plagued by anxiety trying to make the right decision about everything. But learning this truth that there's really no such thing as a wrong decision, because Everett, what makes a decision right or wrong, do you think?
usually some measurement that I have inside my head
Yeah,
about what
it's
right.
your thought about it,
Yeah.
right? Your thought it was right or it was wrong is the only thing that makes it right or wrong. And so if we can believe, and this is a belief that I've adopted, is every decision I've made was the right decision because it's the one I made. And, you know, you can choose to be happy or to be satisfied or to feel whatever feeling you want. It's not going to come from the decision that you make, it's going to come from how you're thinking about it. And so in the book, I talk about the example I give is having another child, right? So many moms debate whether or not should I have another child. Maybe they have a couple already and they're not sure if they want another one, or they had a really hard pregnancy or a time getting pregnant and they don't know if they want to go through that again. So they're trying to decide whether to have another baby. But the baby, right, isn't going to, the decision of whether or not to have the baby isn't going to be right or wrong. It's only how you think about it in the future when, after you've made that decision, is going to determine whether that's right or wrong for you. And so, I hope this is making sense as I'm saying it out loud, but basically you get to decide, you get to choose something, and then if you decide later that that wasn't really, that didn't work out quite well, you can make another decision, or you can just choose to think about it in a way that serves you moving forward.
No, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Sometimes, I mean, it's a decision. It isn't necessarily a right or wrong thing. It's just a decision. It's
Right.
kind of like, I don't mean to trivialize it, but am I going to go to Red Robin, or am I going to go to, I don't know, Five Guys? All right. Couple
Yeah.
burger places, right? You can tell what's on my mind. It's almost lunchtime. So, that's just a decision. Is that a right or a wrong decision? And then, like you said, you can also afterward make another decision, or think differently about how you made that decision in the first place. Because I'm sure, by the way, there are all of us that at times have said, "Oh man, I should not have had that last child," and then and there are those moments, right? Those moments we don't
Right.
really mean them, but there can be
Right.
certainly those types of things.
But even, you gave the example of the 2 burger joints. I mean, that used to be me. I used to, like, really even have trouble deciding between 2 things like that, which seem like, what's the big deal? But to me, my mind just went to, well, what if I go there and then, I see this person, or I don't know, my mind just took off of all the reasons that it would be right or wrong for some reason, and it would paralyze me. And so that I wouldn't make any decisions at all, right? So, I mean, and I know that for a lot of moms, they have a similar thing when it comes to decision making. And so, yeah, this is a really important truth that moms understand.
All right. Now, by the way, when you were asking what's the, maybe a controversial thing
Mhm.
or shocking or whatever, um, I think you picked a great one. You had another one there that I was kind of curious about, and I think mothers would also find curious. There's nothing, truth number 7, there's
Mm.
nothing you have to do.
Yeah, this is a great one. Moms will often come to me and say, well, I'm really feeling resentful because I have to pick up the kids and I have to do the laundry and I have to do this and that. And they list a whole bunch of things that they have to do. And I say, you really don't have to do any of that. And they're like, what are you talking about? I have to do that. I said, no, you're choosing to do those things. You're an adult. You don't have to do any of it. And the reason that I want moms to understand this is because, right, when you think you have to do something, when you're obligated to do something, it's that feeling of pressure, that feeling of resentment that comes up that I'm doing this, but I don't want to be doing this. And when you just switch to, no, I'm choosing this, or I do want to do this, and here's why, right? I may not like doing the dishes every day, but I want to do the dishes because I want my kitchen to be clean. And so I tell myself the truth about that. Even if I start to feel resentful, I'm like, no, I'm choosing this. I want to be doing the dishes right now because I want my kitchen sink clean. And so it just empowers us and again puts us in, out of victim mode, like, oh, I'm this is horrible, my life is horrible, I have to do all these things, and switch it into, no, I'm choosing to. And in this chapter we talk about priorities and setting boundaries, because the truth is, like, if you don't want to do something, you can politely decline or you can find another solution, but there's nothing you have to do.
I think that's so freeing. It's like I don't have to do the dishes, but I really would like the outcome of a
Right.
clean kitchen, so I choose to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Um, I really love that. Now, there was another part of your book where you talk about you define what it means to be a good mother.
Hmm.
Tell us why that is critical.
Well, we have been brought up, in a society where we are told this is what a good mother does and this is what a good mother says. And maybe in our own families of origin, we have ideas about what a good mom does. Sometimes it's a good mom, you know, stays home with the kids, or a good mom cooks a home cooked meal every night, or a number of things, right? And I say, like, what's good for you is your decision, and what's good for somebody else is fine for them, but it doesn't have to be what's right for you. And so you get to define that for yourself. And in this chapter of the book, I talk about how I define what being a good mom is for me. And I have, when you buy the book, there's a resources page that you can go to where you can get additional resources. And so I've included in there some questions for you to ask yourself to kind of identify what being a good mom means to you. And it's not about what your mother-in-law says is a good mother, or what someone on social media says. It's you. And so really getting clear for yourself, what are the expectations I have for myself? Do I like these expectations? Do I want to keep them? Or do I want to define motherhood in a whole new way? I get to decide.
I think that's super powerful, and it also leads me to that point of, when and I can't say this only happened one time, but when we were raising our children, there was a family in the neighborhood that had twice as many kids as we did. They seemed like they never fought. The mom was always put together. The kids always just were lovey-dovey on each other and all of that. And of course, our kids fought, and my wife particularly would get so frustrated. She's like, but their kids don't fight, and their kids don't do this, and blah blah blah. And I had learned this saying, and it was never compare what happens in front of the curtain,
Mm,
in front of someone else's curtain, with what happens backstage at your house.
yeah.
And I was like, I said, honey, I said, you do not know at all what's going on in that family and what struggles they deal with. And we see all of the worst in our own, and we think it's going to be the end of the world, right? When, of course, kids grow out of these things and all of that. And now we've got these kids, these 3 kids, they absolutely love each other. They're best friends. They love to hang out with each other. They're all in their 20s, and it's all worked out. But that whole thing of not comparing what happens backstage at our house versus what's in front of the curtain in someone else's
Yeah.
was really valuable lesson for us.
I didn't mention this before, but I was a school counselor for 6 years. And so I knew everybody, every family in the school, and I knew their story, their family story, their learning issues. I knew everything. And there's not one student in the school, not one, who doesn't have something, like they have a story. Everybody has a story. And everybody has different struggles that they go through. So you may, your kids might be fighting, but the neighbor's dealing with some other kind of issue that you don't have. And so, yeah, I talk in the book about, comparing yourselves to other moms, and how it's just fruitless, because we're all different. We're all on our own paths, and we're all supposed to be learning different things as we go along. And so, and there's another quote actually about, if we all put our problems, I don't know exactly how it goes, right? But if you all put your problems in a pot and picked somebody else's, you'd probably want yours back.
I've never heard that. That's really great.
Yeah.
Now, Pam, we were talking before the broadcast about how every author hopes to impact at least one person in their
Mhm.
life. And you received a note this morning that I thought it would be great for us to end our live cast with. So would
Yeah.
you mind reading that?
Yeah, I would love to. So I woke up this morning, and the first message that I saw on my phone was from my friend Hannah. And she helps me in my business. And she wrote in all caps, "Happy book launch day," with a ton of emojis. And she said, "I'm so stinking excited for you, Pam. This is the culmination of so much work, knowledge, and compassion you've poured into the women in your community for years. I loved reading it and think it's a book every mama needs in their toolkit. I'm going to buy it as a gift for my first time mama friends going forward. To celebrate how amazing you are, I made a donation this morning in your name to an initiative by World Vision that gives small business loans to women in third world countries. These women have traditionally been living on the edge of survival, and this loan helps them start a small business in their community, running grocery stores, sewing, creating handcrafts, and more. And as loans are repaid, the funds are used to provide loans for other women. I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate you, Pam, than empowering more women and mothers to step into the very best versions of themselves." And
Well,
so, just amazing. Like we were talking about earlier, that, my hope with this book is to impact even one mom and help her feel more empowered. But already, like, it's impacting so many more. And I just couldn't be more grateful to everyone out there who picks it up.
well, Pam, thank you so much for coming on the live cast today. Congratulations on the launch of your book. This is fantastic. I think it is going to change lots of lives. And if you're just bringing mothers, and quite frankly, I think dads can learn a lot from your book too. But to a place of less stress and more peace as they approach their parenting is so valuable. So thank you again for doing the book, and thank you for coming on the live cast.
Thank you, Everett.
All right, so get your copy today of Less Drama, More Mama. Pick that up for 99 cents on Amazon. And if you have a book idea that you'd love to see come to the world, please reach out. You can schedule a consultation with us at ignitepress.us. That's ignitepress.us. Thank you so much.